Pain series of webinars. Hope you're all safe and sound in your homes while we continue to bring the world's leading experts to you. Today we have with us Miss Faith James. She's affectionately known as Queen of Branding or the Branding Ninja, depending on what side of street you live. She's an award-winning marketing and branding executive with over 25 plus years of experience in creating branding and communications campaigns for Fortune 500 companies like IBM, Microsoft, Pepsi, Mary Kay, and Liberty Mutual, to name a few. Faith is a published author, and her book, Ladies, Power Up Your Brand, launched last year and is already an Amazon #1 bestseller, international bestseller to be true. Her second book, Experts and Influencers, is being released in June 2020. She's also published articles and blog content on advertising and brand development and speaks frequently at industry shows such as Advertising Research Federation, the American Marketing Association, Career Thought Leaders Symposium, and more. She is also a certified personal and social branding strategist and is the CEO of Personal Branding Consultancy LLC, an international branding and marketing agency that helps forward-leading female entrepreneurs from Australia to Atlanta build a standout brand and improve their professional reputation in the marketplace. Her agency was awarded the 2019 Branding and Marketing Agency of the Year Award in Port St. Lucie, FL. So thank you so much for being with us, Faith. It's such a pleasure to have you with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
So we have a lot of questions about, social media and how best you can utilize this, especially at a time like this.
Absolutely.
So I guess I'll just get started to give my audience the maximum time to ask you questions later.
Okay.
So my first question to you, Faith, is that these are, unprecedented times where many businesses, especially startups, risk shutting down. And aggressively marketing their businesses online is probably the only way to survive right now. How can entrepreneurs utilize this time of lockdown to build efficient marketing strategies for their businesses that might just help them persist or something?
Yeah. That's the we say the $64 million question, right? It's the thing that everybody really needs to take focus on. And the one thing I want to say is that you have to slow down to speed up. So I'll say it again, you must slow down to speed up. What I've seen a lot of, small business owners, entrepreneurs doing now, because we're in this sort of state of persistent fear and panic and uncertainty, now they're just doing every and anything they can get their hands on to market to try to make money. And that is the absolute worst thing that they could and should be doing right now. So if you were in business prior to this global pandemic where we're all shut in, I want you to really think about what your business looked like. Were you thriving? Were you just starting up? Were you in a market that you were just sort of testing out? Or have you been in this marketplace for 5+ years and that is what your brand is known for? So for example, there was an entrepreneur that I was observing. They were in one industry doing this thing for, let's say they've been doing it for a couple months. Then they started posting that, oh, now they're offering this, something completely different. And then, wait, no, I'm also this and offering that. And that is just, I call that sort of the desperation strategy, or maybe most people know it as a spaghetti strategy, where you just throw whatever you want to throw up on the wall. You throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. That's coming from a place of fear and lack, and nothing good, nothing creative can come from that space. So I want everybody to take stock. If you don't have a business plan, which you should have had a business plan coming into 2020 in terms of what your business is meant to be doing and looking like, I want you to sort of assess on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you assess your business prior to COVID-19? Were you feeling joy? Were you feeling optimistic? Were things just going really well and you couldn't think of a better thing to be doing? Or were you already panic stricken? Were you already not getting clients? Were you already not really feeling a sense of potential and thriving? And so take a look at where you are, and then don't let the COVID-19 be the thing that throws you into a tailspin where you're just spinning around and not thinking. So when I say you need to slow down to speed up, right now in this season of COVID-19, you absolutely must take into account the state of mind of the consumer. And so thinking about where the consumer is, where your particular consumers are. What do they need, want, desire? And I'll just say this, and I want everybody to take note on this. A consumer buys in only two need states. They either need something or they want something. So to think about where your category fits, is it a want or a need? So for example, you know, I want to get my nails done. I don't need to get my nails done. That's a want, right? So if you don't know if your particular product and service falls in a want versus a need, then you're already starting from a place of, you know, being 5 steps behind. So think about whether you're in a need category or want. So for example, if you're an automotive dealer, people need cars to get to and from work. They want to have heated seats, or they want to have, you know, a hardwood interior on the dashboard. That's not a need. And so thinking about your offering, your SKUs, what you have to offer, let's start to prioritize it. This is why I'm saying in this time to really slow down. Slow down means get your journal, get your business plan, take a look and see, okay, what were my Q1 numbers? How did I do as it regards my projected goal? And then as you start to decide to move forward, I want to say this so clearly, that you cannot ignore the fact that we are in the season of COVID-19. People's brains are now working differently. They're thinking about different, you know, listen, you heard the rush on toilet paper, which was just so, you know, people thought that was so irrational, but that just gives you a sense and insight into where the consumer's mind and heart is. So think about whether your business is working in a category that's a need for your consumers or a want. Making sure, number one, too, that you are reaching out right now. If you have a database, whether it's a MailChimp or a Constant Contact, My Emma, whatever it is, number one, have you reached out to your database just to mail them to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. We're in uncharted territories. How are you doing? If you need to chat, I'm here. If you haven't done that one step, I want you to do that, because a lot of times people then get desperate and they're like, oh, buy this stuff, buy this stuff, buy this stuff. And people aren't feeling necessarily right now in a space of buying a lot of stuff that's not a need. So how do you do that? How do you look to see where my business, where my category fits? You really want to look at some of the key buying triggers. Number one, buying trigger is make money. Does your brand, service, or products satisfy this need, this number one need of making money? Number two, save money is a second top buying trigger. Does your product, service, or brand help people save money? 3, alleviate pain. And pain can come in any form, right? It can come in just the anxiety, the uncertainty. Does your brand, product, or service help your consumers avoid pain? And the list goes on. I can send this PDF to your audience if they're interested. Things like, feeling better, feeling good about themselves, right? So you want to look to see, what am I doing? You're not just going to be mindlessly sending out marketing campaigns, mindlessly sending out emails, hoping that your third or fourth email is going to get them to buy something when you first haven't acknowledged the state that they're in right now. So I've said to my clients, I said, I want every single person to give something to the community, give something to humanity. So one of my clients who is in health and wellness, she started doing a Facebook Live yoga for 30 days. Because again, in thinking of the need and the state of mind of the consumer, everybody is shut in. People are going stir crazy. They're bored. They're overeating. So what's the need, right? To avoid pain. What would that pain be? The pain of boredom, the pain of overeating. So she offered her services for free for 30 days. And so you might think, okay, well, I'm looking to make money. I'm not looking to do things for free. But that is a prelude. You must do that, because if you think about it, I've seen so many different examples of global brands. For example, Louis Vuitton shut down 3 of their perfume factories and started making hand sanitizer. Burberry, right? Burberry, one of their factories, started making gowns and PPEs for the first line responders. You have to give to get. So right now, if you're scared and you're sitting, you're listening, and you're like, I need money, I want you to first think, who can I serve? I want you to write that down. Who can I serve today? And how can I show up in a service posture? because people will remember that. People will remember, I mean, Louis Vuitton doesn't have to do that. They don't have to turn, you know, they make millions and billions of dollars from their perfumes. But as a part of the world, as a citizen of the world, to say, now we're in crisis, I'm going to do something to help. That is sort of having a very good philanthropic bent to your brand. So as a small business owner, think about how you can show up to serve. So the long answer to your question, Serbi, is that they really need to slow down in order to speed up. It's not just keep marketing, stop, take stock. What am I offering? Is this thing that I'm offering right now, does anybody need or want this right now? People are thinking about how they're going to feed their children. People are thinking about how they're going to keep their roof over their head. So you can still have your same products and services. It's just in the messaging. It's just in how you position it. It's just in how you deliver it that says, I'm recognizing, right? So I'm going to recognize you. I understand now, sir, you're in this place of time. This is what I'm doing. I'm making this offer to all of my clients. This is something that I think would be really helpful in this time now. You have to acknowledge where people are. Get your plan, get your journal, look to see where you are, what you can do to ensure that when you're sending out marketing messages or campaigns, that it's really recognizing where your consumers are.
Absolutely. And then the best thing you can do right now is to acknowledge the pain that people are going through and how you can help them through it. So,
Yes.
wait, one question. So the people who fall in the category of want, you know, when they have products that people might want sometime but don't really need it, how do they work across it? You know, what do they do?
Great question. I'm going to give you an example of another client of mine. So she's a fashion designer, stylist. Nobody's looking for long flowy gowns right now. Nobody's going to any cocktail parties. Nobody's going to any VIP events. But she looked at what do the people need, right? Our country, and you know, certainly globally, we have now been advised by our CDC to start wearing masks. And so because she's a stylist, seamstress, designer, she stopped making, or you know, stopped promoting her gowns, etc., and she started making designer masks.
Wow. Okay.
You see, and she has done phenomenally well. She's selling these masks all across the country to people that she doesn't know, but she took her gift, her skills, her talent, what her brand was about. She designs and creates. But instead of making designer dresses, she's taking designer prints and making masks. I bought, I don't know, 5 or 6 from her and shared that on social media. And so many people were like, oh my gosh, how can I order? How can I order? She's doing well. This is how good this is. Now is even thinking she doesn't want to go back to her full-time position. She really can see now when you show up in service. So imagine if she was doing her normal Facebook Live where she's just talking about dressing for your body style and accessories and how you can mix gold and people are going to tune that out. Nobody cares. What did I say? They're trying to figure out how to feed their kids and keep roof over their heads. So you have to be able to pivot. You've seen in a lot of the industry communications right now, they're talking about how brands pivot. Pivot means you're going in this direction and you pivot over here. So this is so important. So I say to take a look at your plan. What have you been doing? What do you have? Because honestly, you know, there are going to be business owners who may have to take a complete leap to the left because what they were currently offering may not fit in this season. And that's okay. You know, Bob Proctor, who is, you know, such a great mentor, you know, from afar from me, I listen to everything that he does. And he always talks about it's so important to have multiple streams of income. Right now, we have to get married to solution. We can't get married to what it is that we have. So if you have a shelf and you've got these 3 products sitting up there and you're just going to bang your head against the wall and say, how can I get people to buy these things? You have to recognize, is this serving a need in the marketplace right now? I'm going to give you something I learned from Bob Proctor. He talks about the law of compensation as it regards building your brand. So think about Venn diagram, the 3 interconnecting circles. At the top, it's the need. You're serving a great need in the marketplace. I need everybody to assess what is the great need in the marketplace just now. I just gave you a few, right? On the other circle, it's how well do you provide that solution? How expert are you? How good are you at providing a solution for this great need? And the third circle is the degree to which it is so difficult for your clients to leave you. When we focus on those three things, am I serving the marketplace with a great need? If you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where does this map right now? Am I any good at it? That's the other thing too, right? I always use this quote from David Ogilvy, which is the first agency I worked at, where he said, the consumer is not a moron. The consumer is not a moron. That means the consumer is discerning. The consumer has the ability to make choices. And so not because you put up your storefront to say, hey, now I'm selling product C, come buy product C from me. They're not a moron just because you say buy, they're going to buy. It needs to map to what I just said before. It needs to serve and address a great need. And you yourself, as the entrepreneur and the business owner, must be able to show up competently in delivering that service, because again, the consumer is not a moron. They will find other people to deliver that for them. So yeah, definitely pivoting your strategy. That's why, again, you can't map to a place. I always say you can't turn your GPS on and say, I want to go to this destination. What do you have to do first? You first have to put in your current location.
Absolutely.
Right? So in order to think about, okay, if I was originally in a want category, like my client that I was talking to you about, designer dresses, nobody wants designer dresses right now. What can I do? How can I pivot? That's the work that needs to be done. And that's the biggest piece of what I'm going to leave everybody with today, is to really think long and hard. So a lot of people don't want to do the strategic work. They just want to get to a sell, make money. But you have to get with a strategist. You have to get with somebody who knows how to look from a third party objective point of view on what your situation is and help you kind of find the path to pivoting on that. So yeah, definitely, if you've been in a want category, you need to really take a strategic pause and look to see how you can map your products and services, your brand, into what people actually need right now.
Absolutely. Very valid point, Faith. Totally, you have to figure out. So again, gets me to the second point that we wanted to ask you. So social media has been playing a massively important role right now during this lockdown, and people are once again engaging. Everybody has time. Everybody is engaging on social media platforms. So how can businesses, small or big, establish good communication with their customer base during these times? So I think one part you've already answered, that you connect with them and you ask them how they're doing. Apart from that, what can you do?
Okay, so I love this question because it's one of the things that I focus on in my business and my practice, and I tell my clients this all the time. You absolutely must understand that your digital you is equal to or even greater than your physical you. And why do I say it's even greater? Because your digital you, which sits in the internet, is accessible to 9 billion people on the planet. You and your physical you, right? You might only be accessible to 10 people in a meeting or 50 people in a mastermind, while your digital you sits on your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Snapchat, your TikTok, your Instagram, your whatever, and it's accessible to 9 billion people on this planet. It is so important that everybody grasps that. And so sometimes we think, oh, I'll just get to that later. But here's why you absolutely need to get to this now. And if you have time, which we all have time, I say we have nothing right now more than time and opportunity, is I want you to do a social brand audit. And I have the checklist I can send to you if your audience is interested. You need to understand that 40% of consumers, and that number might even be higher now given the season of COVID-19, 40% of consumers research your social media footprint and make buying decisions before contacting you. So for example, see where you and I are here right now, I am not on my social media. There could be 20 people right now, business owners saying, you know what, I really need a strategist to help me figure out how to pivot my business in COVID-19. Let me go take a look. If my digital you, my digital me, is not communicating expert competence, with good reviews and content, they're going to just keep driving on by. I won't even know that they took a pit stop to check me out. So your digital you is so, so very important. So when I think about this is what I want you to say. Would I hire this person? You're looking at your own social brand, and by what you're seeing, you're going to ask yourself the question, would I hire this person? Basically, I would ask myself, would I hire me? Because when you think about the fact that There are so many, I think there are about close to 4 billion people active on social media at any given time, right? When they're checking you out, what are they seeing? Are they seeing a company that is communicating competence? Do they see a company that's communicating knowledge? Do they see a company that could potentially have the solution to their problems, their needs that they're going through right now? So if you don't have your social media, what I call it, in an all-star status, again, you're starting from behind. So here are some examples of things that you can do. Number one, look at where you spend. I say, you know, what is your social brand headquarter? Headquarter meaning the place that if you don't have a lot of time, you're going to make sure that this social media platform is representative, the true representation of how you want to be communicating in the marketplace. So if on your Facebook business page, you don't have a photo of you, or you have a photo of you and your dog, you don't have a cover photo, there's no information in the bio, your headline summary on LinkedIn is blank, your cover photo on LinkedIn is blank, it's just that blue border, there's no bio, there's no media attached to it, there are no recommendations nor reviews, there are no skills that you're being touted for, please understand that somebody is going to look and keep going, because people want to do business with confident people. People want to do business with competent people. And your social media is speaking volumes. I always say hashtag everything about you speaks. Everything about you speaks. And if I went to somebody's social media and all they had were videos of, you know, dogs and cats, or lots of like funny memes, but I didn't see anything that communicated this person is a thought leader. I didn't see any articles where they were talking about what are some of the 5 things that you need to be doing right now to maintain your stress level. Because in this time of heightened stress, let's just say you were in health and wellness, you were a coach, and you want to differentiate yourself from others, that your social media would have content. I would see video. Let me just stick a pin in this, as we say, pause, and say something about video. Video is king, queen, prince, princess. It's all the royalties. If you are not on video, you're doing yourself a disservice. Video has 6 times more engagement than a regular post, because what, as a human being, right? So if you thought we were distracted before, we're even more distracted now, right? And we consume video content faster, with more ease than we would take the time to sit and read. So it's not an either or, it's an and. I would say social branding ain't easy, but it's worth it, and you absolutely must do it. I'll give you a really, really good example. So I use a publishing software that posts across all of my hubs, my Facebook, my LinkedIn personal, my LinkedIn business. How many people have a LinkedIn business page? How many people have actually taken the time to go create their LinkedIn business page? Some of you might be saying, I didn't know LinkedIn even had a business page. They do. So I can post to my personal page on Facebook, my business page on Facebook, my LinkedIn personal, my LinkedIn business, my Instagram, my groups, my Google Your Business. I've been doing that consistently. I received an email inbox from LinkedIn of this woman who's a PhD, doing her PhD at Harvard, and said, "Oh, hi Faith, all the greetings. We're looking for somebody in branding. I would love to speak with you." I don't know this person. I've never seen her before. But how is it, again, this is somebody, when you think about somebody who's doing their PhD at Harvard, right, you understand this is somebody of great intellect. And that of all the people on LinkedIn in my category, she messaged me to say, we're looking for somebody in branding. If that doesn't speak to you and communicate to you the importance of making sure that your social media is spot on, I don't know what else we'll do. I'll give you another real life example. Many people hopefully know Tyra Banks, the global, model. And she shared a story that she was on her Instagram, just, doing whatever she was doing. And she came across this photographer, and I guess the photographer's work and what she had on her Instagram feed was so compelling. Tyra Banks reached out to this photographer and had this unknown photographer shoot her cover, her 20-year cover on Sports Illustrated. Wow. Do you think that person, that photographer's life, business, brand is now forever changed? And why? Because her Instagram feed was all-star, and it was communicating. If you're looking for this type of photography, you're looking for interested, I'm the person. So very, very important. Now is the time. Number one, do the social brand audit. Go to your Facebook, go to your LinkedIn, go to your Twitter, wherever you're hanging out. And I want you to look at it and say, would I hire this person? Take the audit, so important. 40% of consumers are going to your social brand. You don't even know that they're there. They're making a decision about you, right? This is when we talk about, don't judge a book by the cover. They are absolutely judging you by your cover. They're judging you by the fact whether you have a great cover photo or not. They're judging you by the fact that when I say something on the cover photo, it needs to be communicating your brand. So I always say on social media, you want to be communicating at a 70-30 ratio, business, brand, and then lifestyle, right? So it's all you. Another hashtag I love to say is you are your brand. So you are you. But you want people to be able to get a sense of, oh, this is what she's about. Oh, and she also loves to travel. Oh, look, she was just here speaking on, the Speak In webinar, global webinar with Subri. Oh, look, and she also loves art. That makes you a more interesting person that people want to communicate with. So really do the audit. Very important. Again, remember this line, the consumer is not a moron. They're not going to look and see a social media platform that looks empty. When was the last time anybody posts? I'm asking you guys if you're able to participate. Let's see, Reno. When was the last time you did a post that was, closely aligned to your brand that positioned you as a thought leader? It could just have been, as I said before, the top 5 ways that you can easily de-stress, while you're sheltering in place. Have you guys done anything like that? That's what starts to build your credibility. So social media, very important. Even more important now, you must have an all-star brand. Your profiles must be complete and your content must be consistent. I always say, here's a quick thing on consistency. The consistency is not optional. So if you posted this week and then you didn't post for another 2 weeks, that's doing yourself a disservice. You want a consistent flow of information that people know, right? This is what branding is, right? It's your promise of value, and the promise is key. That I promise to consistently show up and give you good content. My brand promises to always show up and give you interesting ways that you can build your brand in a very competitive marketplace. My promise is so important. And what happens when somebody breaks their promise? They lose the trust, right? And so very important, social media.
All right. So where can we get the audit guidelines?
So go ahead and let's see what's the easiest way to do. Have your audience send me an email at faith@faithjames.com, and in the subject line just put social brand audit.
Definitely.
And social brand audit, and I will get that checklist out to you, and we'll give you a really quick sense. I mean, here's one tip: if you can get a professional headshot done by a photographer, not your friend holding your iPhone, but if you can get a professional shot, that is one thing I want you to set as a goal, because they talk about a picture was worth 1,000 words. It's so true, because that already communicates, oh, this person has enough sort of detail to themselves that they went and had a professional shot. The details meant something, as opposed to, oh, I don't have time for that, I'll just take a selfie and put that up. That's not communicating competence and professionalism.
Absolutely. Great advice, Faith. I'll go ahead and just do that. Okay, so Nabil wants your email ID again, Faith. If you just repeat that.
Yeah, it's my name at my first and last name.com. So faith@faithjames.com. You don't have to write anything in the email to me. Just the subject line just says social brand audit.
Thank you, Faith. I hope he got that. So coming to the next one in the same breath. So considering, we have a lot of cash crunch right now due to, of course, significantly reduced number of transactions across the market. So how much budget do you think we should earmark for digitally marketing ourselves right now as businesses? And should we be spending a little more on digital marketing right now to, since people are looking at it more right now?
So that's a good question, because a lot of times people want to go to paid sources. Again, that's that I want to get in front of as many people as I can, and hopefully, some percentage of them will buy my things. But if you haven't built a community of people around you, I call them my tribe. So I have a Facebook group, which I'm going to invite everybody to join. I'll admit you in. It's called the Savvy Branders Tribe. It's on Facebook. That's the name of the group. That if you aren't already cultivating a tribe of people and sharing content, whether it's, again, it's video, do the videos, and I'm going to say a little bit more on video in a second, but that you want to already have a tribe of people, because here's what I'm going to tell you. You may think, oh, I'm going to put a budget of $500. I'm going to target, this key area of people who are highly educated and, make over $100,000. If they don't know you, number one, that's going to be a consideration for you. When you do that $500 budget and you bring them to your website, to your social media, what are they going to see? So a lot of times people end up just wasting their money, because you try to get that paid traffic, but when you bring them to your space, they look at it and go, this website doesn't even look that professional. I'm looking at this person's social media. They haven't posted anything. And so you see, it all comes back to your digital you. You must have super, super compelling content and information. I'm going to say this, you must first be providing value. People will spend whatever they need to spend if you're providing value, and it's demonstratable value that people can see right away. Yes, if I work with this person, or if I buy this person's thing, I can see how it's going to be valuable. And how do they know it's valuable? Because you've done the work to first identify their problems, showing that recognition of, I know you are needing to save a lot of time right now. If you're a mom and you now have 3 kids at home that you have to homeschool all of a sudden, right? Your entire day is now like turned upside down. I know you're looking for more time. Here is what my product service will do for you to help you get more time. When you laser focus in on the messaging, on the need, and even if you're going to strangers that don't know you, you will potentially get a percentage of them, because even if they don't know you, the message is resonating. So it can't just be a sales pitch where you're not communicating and demonstrating understanding of where they are, what their pain points are, and how your product and or service will help to facilitate that. Let me just say a thing on marketing in general and brand visibility. We have access to 9 billion people for free. Your social media platform is so underutilized, right? I just gave you an example. How much did it cost me to acquire a new prospect? That woman from Harvard who reached out to me, how much did it cost me to acquire her? No hard cash. It cost me time to create content. But when I say if you batch your content together, meaning, so what I do is, so let's say on a Sunday afternoon or maybe later at night, I'll sit at my computer and I'll just create posts for a week or 2 in advance. So it's going to quote unquote cost you some efforting time to put it together. But in terms of hard cash, which right now is at a premium, people are looking to hold on to money as best they can because of the uncertainty. We don't know, what's going to happen. So continue to market, know that you have access to 9 billion people for free. Just imagine if we had to, lease a storefront, a 24 by 24 square front to get foot traffic of maybe 100 people a day. Your lease for your office space, maybe $900 a month. Then you've got to turn on the light. Then you've got the air conditioning bill, where you get the opportunity to show up for free on a Facebook, on a LinkedIn, on an Instagram. I keep saying this because this is the thing. A lot of people don't want to take the time to create the content, right? It's like, let me just do a quick ad and just try to get the money in it. You're just going to waste the money. So what I would say is, number one, your email database is your gold mine. If you do not have an email database, right now I could say to you, if I'm like, oh, you know what, I need to raise a few $1,000s, I can literally just go into my email, create a promo, and email everybody who's in my database. And I'm more likely to get sales that way than trying to do a Facebook ad campaign for $500 or more for people who I haven't yet built that relationship. So that trust. They get emails from me, right, every few times, each month. So they know me, they know my name all of a sudden. I mean, how many times, guys, think about it, you've seen sponsored ads come up on the Facebook, right? They're beautiful, they're well shot, but you're like, I don't know this person. I don't know if this is a scammer. Is this a real person? Right? All those things go through your head. But when you've been communicating year after year in your email campaigns, they know you, whether they know you or not. I mean, let me just say again, on acquiring clients using the free platforms that we've been given so graciously by these companies. So there was a realtor, she's local in this area, but I have never met her before. And in my Facebook inbox message, she's like, hi Faith, my name is so-and-so. I wanted to reach out to you. This is what she said to me. You are always in my time feed. So I wanted to reach out to you. I think I need a logo, because she thought she needed a new logo, et cetera. It turns out she needed a whole branding strategy. And she hired me on the spot on that first phone call. I always do a discovery session when somebody says, I want something. And on that call, she hired me on the spot.
Wow.
Why is that? Because my digital me is speaking volumes. My website is professional. Everything that I do is professional. And so guys, if you're going to spend money, I want you to take that money and focus it on you, your digital you. What do you need? Does your social media need to be updated in terms of graph? If you don't have let's say the capacity to use a Canva, and if you guys don't know about Canva, canva.com. It is a free, they have a paid version, but there's also a free version. It is a entrepreneur's dream. They have templates for posters, for flyers, for presentations that you can just go in and edit and put your copy in, and you look professional. I'll give you another example of why it's so important to have that professional look. I had gotten a request for a proposal from one of our local nonprofits, and they were doing the bids. And so my bid, obviously, she told me when I was on the phone with her, and I hadn't met her in person. I still hadn't, met her at the time she hired me. She said, I just want to let you know that your fee was more expensive than the other two. But when I looked at your proposal, when I looked at your presentation, she said, I knew this woman knew what she was talking about, and I was hired even though I was the most expensive.
Wow.
So taking the time to make sure your brand assets are branded, that they look good. Another thing too, in your email signatures, when you're sending out an email to a client or prospect, do you have a branded signature at the bottom? So these are the little things. So I would say first fix the house, right? First fix the house, and then worry about spending money on paid advertising. Let that be the second phase. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, let that be the second phase. You've got to first fix your house. It's like you're having a dinner party. You're inviting 10 of the most, influential people over, and you're so excited. You want to get them to co-sign on to your new idea, but your house is a mess. It's full of dust. The dishes in the sink. You haven't swept up in months, but you're worried about trying to get 10 of the most influential people to partner with you. It's going to be a waste of money that you spend on that party.
Sure. Absolutely. That's a very valid point, Faith. Thank you. So, okay, so, in the same breath, consumer content consumption patterns differ from time to time. So, what according to you is the content consumption pattern these days?
Oh, sorry, Sarah, you kind of cut out for a bit.
Sorry. So the consumer content consumption pattern differs from time to time. So as per, right now, this time, what is the content consumption pattern according to you that, people have?
Yeah, and so this is so interesting. And so this is why one thing I always say is it varies and it depends, right? That's sort of like the easy answer out. It varies and it depends. You want to think about now, before everybody would be at work. So if your target audience is somebody who's a 9-to-5 professional, so by 7, 8 o'clock, they're out of the house, they're at work. And so if you think about like a LinkedIn, for example, common theory is that you post, early in the morning and then later in the evening, because most people who are working at a 9-to-5 are not sitting at their desk consuming content. If your target audience are the stay-at-home moms, then you also think about the fact that, okay, once the kids are off to school, let's say by 7:30, 8, 9, she has, the bulk of the afternoon before the kids start to come home around 2, 3, and then she's with them doing homework, making dinner. So why I say it depends is it depends on who you're trying to reach, right? I've posted stuff on my Instagram before, 2, 3 in the morning, and I see people responding to it. So you've got the night owls, who are up and, you know, creating and, you know, doing all those really fun things. So it depends on who you're trying to get. But at the very least, as long as you are consistent about putting out your content. So again, this woman, Tracy, I never met her, had no way of knowing her. I didn't set out to go, you know, I'm trying to attract luxury real estate people. So I just put my content out. And because my content is consistent, invariably it's going to, you know, catch the attention of somebody, because that's the strategy. Be consistently posting, be consistently doing your videos, be consistently adding content to your YouTube channel, to your LinkedIn. Just the plan has to be in place. And so we can't work, because we can't control that. Here, guys, is the thing. We can only control what we can control. So I never worry like, ooh, oh my gosh, I better change this time for LinkedIn. I just put my content out. When I use my posting software, I set everything for the same time, 7 a.m., you know, 6:30, whatever. It just goes. But if you have enough of it, right? Think about when you're sitting down and you're watching a show. How many times have you seen the same commercial come up a few times, right? On the same network. It's called reach and frequency. So they put a plan in place that says, we want to reach these people. So if it's a stay-at-home mom, you'll see advertising on like the telenovelas or like the soap operas, and you'll see it over and over if you sit there long enough. So that's the same strategy with your content. Just put your content out. Keep putting the content out, sharing it. The other thing too, I mentioned about being in different Facebook groups, being in different LinkedIn groups where you can meet people. So if your budget is low, I want you to first think of your phase one strategy should be, let me start building my own community of people around me. Let me start a group where I can huddle my people and we can have conversations. And then people start to know you, then they start to invite their friend. And then, you know, it's so important to do that. You know, another example of a client that I got, again, she lived in Texas, didn't know her, but a friend of hers who was a client of mine recommended her to contact me. And she said, I don't know what she's charging for her branding strategy services these days. She's like, but whatever she's paying, whatever she's charging, just pay it.
Wow.
That comes from showing up consistently and doing the work. So don't do any paid advertising right now. If you look at your social media and you go, I wouldn't hire me, because you're going to just waste the money attracting people to your digital you, and they're not going to be feeling like, oh, this person is competent and can help me.
So apart from not being consistent, what are some of the, you know, marketing errors that can potentially ruin a company's online reputation, especially at these times of crisis?
Okay, perfect. Love that setup, Subri. So it's called the 5 C's of branding. So everybody take note, the 5 C's of branding. So I'm just going to go in random order. So clarity. Clarity meaning you yourself must be clear what your brand is about. If I were to show up into your meeting and say, oh, so good to meet you. So tell me a little about you. What is it that you do? And if you can't just flow into, this is what I do and this is why I do it, and you're not clear on what it is that you're doing, how do you think the consumer is going to be feeling? If you're confused, they're doubly confused. So clarity, you must be able to articulate what your brand is about. You must be able to articulate who you serve. So you heard at the top of the hour when Subri introduced me, and she talked about leaning forward entrepreneurs. I say I serve leaning forward female entrepreneurs and a few enlightened men, right? So right away, people understand what it is that I'm about, right? So my book, Ladies, Power Up Your Brand. It's clear that I major on female entrepreneurs and a few enlightened men, I say. So you want to be able to be clear. Somebody says, what do you do? This is what I do. I help entrepreneurs who have been, hiding for, the past 20 years. I help them achieve brand visibility in record time. You must be able to say that. If you're like, well, I do this and then, and you're rambling and confused, you just lost that person. So you must get clear. If you're not clear, if I were to put somebody on now and say, Subri, bring somebody right up now on camera with us and say, tell me what it is. And this is what I work with my clients to help them create their branded intro. You must be able to flow, just like you say your name. You don't have to think about, I think my name is Faith, but sometimes, right, that would be crazy. So clarity. Content, we spend a lot of time now just talking about it. Content. content for your consumers to consume, articles, blogs, video, social media graphics, posts, whatever it is, that you're putting out content that lets people know what your brand is about and how you can help them. Credibility. So very important that when they show up, you have those third-party validated stats to demonstrate that you're credible at what you do. So that comes in the form of reviews, that comes in the form of recommendations on your LinkedIn. That's how people understand that even if they don't know you, they're looking at your reviews, they're looking at your recommendations and going, oh, wow, this person who was the CEO of this company said, oh, she's really smart and insightful. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So you must have that credibility stamp as well. Constancy, and I'm going to distinguish constancy from consistency. Constancy means you are constantly doing the same thing, or you're constantly in the same area. So again, let's say if you're in health and wellness and you were a massage therapist for the past 10 years, now you're having to pivot, right? So now maybe you're doing, telemassage, or you're showing clients how to massage themselves. You're doing distance and say, okay, now you want to do the rotator cuff. You're still constantly in the same field of health and wellness. You're now not all of a sudden saying, hey, I'm marketing Bitcoin. I work with this company, right? You're constantly, my brand has not shifted for the past 25, 30 years. I have constantly been in branding, global marketing, right? Because when you go from one thing to the next, because you're hunting for money, it damages your credibility because people don't believe that, number one, that you're an expert. When you think about a doctor, a general practitioner, the doctor that you see, just for your, wellness, versus a neurosurgeon. I'm asking the participants now in the chat. Who do you think likely makes more money? The general practitioner, MD, or the neurosurgeon? If you answered the neurosurgeon, you are correct. Why does a neurosurgeon make more money? They're both MDs, but a neurosurgeon has special skills, extensive studies to be able to go into the human brain and operate and have that person come back out healed and whole. That commands dollars because they have specialized, right? They're not a dime a dozen, whereas anybody can go find a general practitioner. So that's the same thing that they've been constantly studied in that area. So I'm hoping that's clear. Now let's talk about consistency. We just talked about it, that you're consistently showing up, you're consistently posting, that somebody would be able to say to you, oh, I see your stuff all the time. If people aren't saying to you guys, oh, I'm seeing all of your posts all the time. And I've had this one, he was a director of marketing for a global pharmaceutical company that back in my agency days, he was a client, and it was his birthday on LinkedIn. And I said, happy birthday. And he wrote back and said, thank you so much. I just love all the things that you're doing. You're doing such wonderful work. He has never commented or liked anything that I've posted on LinkedIn. But do you understand that people are watching you? Do you understand that people are observing you? So don't worry if somebody didn't click a like or share, you are being observed. So that's consistently. I'm consistently showing up on LinkedIn, posting, doing articles. I'm consistently on Facebook doing videos. I'm consistently on Instagram. So that's what consistency is. Constancy is like you're constant. Your brand doesn't change. You're not here today doing this thing and tomorrow now you're doing something else. Next thing you know, you're selling CBD. Oh, now you're back to Bitcoin. Consistency is your message continues. And then let's see. Did I get all five? Consistency, clarity, credibility, content, and clarity. I think I did. If I did. But those are the key things. If you really want to build a standout brand, that is the basis for what it is that you need to be focusing on. Am I clear? When people look at my work, there was one woman I heard about. She was really upset that people were on her Facebook saying, I don't understand what it is that you do. And she was getting upset. That is not the consumer's problem. It is your work to get clear on what your brand is about and demonstrate how you can help people in the marketplace. So hopefully that was helpful. So those are the 5 C's of branding. Consistency is important. I always say, guys, remember this, #massive imperfect action. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, because we love to create, we love to do things, we want it perfect. We want it to be just so. That's preventing your momentum. Sometimes okay is okay to go. Don't worry about if you send an email out and it had a typo. I've read New York Times articles, Wall Street Journal articles plenty of times, and I've seen typos in them, and they're not dead. Don't worry about it. Massive imperfect action. Take action. So I just want to challenge everybody today to just take action on, I don't care what you take action on of what I said, whether it's doing the audit, right? Whether it's actually going and doing a video. It could just be as simple as going on video and just saying, I am just here. I just want to be a light and show up and just say, I'm thinking of you. I'm sending out light and love. You don't even have to teach anything. You just showed up. So hopefully that helps. I see some comments in the chat, but I haven't looked in the chat yet, but I know Super, you'll let me know what's going on.
People have been asking, what site were you mentioning while you said free design? So I just answered them.
Oh, Canva, canva.com.
So people, we're down to the last question for Faith. So any questions if you have, please feel free to put them in the Q&A section and we'll ask her. So Faith, down to our second last question right now. Organic traffic is down in most industries. So are there any measures that people can take to increase or sustain the organic traffic in these times?
Yes, so one being a great way is your engagement. And I have a tool that I use with my clients that literally maps their brand engagement, because here's one thing: you could be putting out a lot of content and nobody's engaging with it. And so you want to be able to look at, what is it that I'm serving up to people that's not meaningful to them? Again, you're going back to the consumer buying trigger. And if you guys want that PDF, I'll send that as well. Though you've got to get into the mindset of the people. What are they looking for right now? What are people interacting with? And make sure that you're doing that. If you assess that you're just doing promotion, buy this, and you're not giving any value, you're not asking people to engage, that's going to be one of the reasons why your organic traffic is down, because you're not giving them anything of value. You're not giving them anything that they can say, you know what, this person always has good content, so I'm going to come on. When you go live and nobody comes on, I want to first say about that, don't worry about that. People are watching, they just probably haven't clicked on anything, and there's power in the replay. But you want to be able to build over time the value that people look at you. This is why I use this example. When Louis Vuitton can charge $1,000 for a pocketbook, a handbag, that the only piece of leather on that hand is the strip and the handle. Otherwise, it's canvas. And they charge $1,000 plus, and they have no problems selling that, because that brand has over time built what their brand value is all about, built their promise. And so Louis Vuitton never has a sale. You will never see an authentic Louis Vuitton. It doesn't happen. And you're thinking, why? I see all these other brands doing sales, because they have been very focused on building that they're a luxury travel and accessories, lifestyle brand. And it's for those people for whom that's a status that says, you know what, I think, highly of myself, or whatever it might be, and I want to be associated with that brand. So you have to start building. I always use this example. If you wanted to build a house, you couldn't just go to the builder and say, listen, I love bay windows and I like a ceiling light and I want a big patio and a porch. The builder's going to say to you, where's your architectural blueprint? That is where the builder starts, the foundation. So your foundation, this work, I'm hoping if you remember nothing of what I say today on this session, I want you to think about, what is my foundational blueprint? Who am I? Who do I want to serve? A lot of times people want to serve everybody. And I just did a post the other day where I say, you can't boil the ocean. Hashtag, you cannot boil the ocean. Don't try. There's no cauldron big enough for you to put the ocean in and boil it. What that means is get focused. Get focused. Just when I say leaning forward, female entrepreneurs, get focused. Does that mean I can't serve men? No, absolutely not. So you don't worry about that. They think if you focus, you're going to lose. No, when you focus, more people come to you. Because if you're using my neurosurgeon example, if my reputation is in the land that I am the best neurosurgeon, and every operation I have done, people come back healed and whole. Do you understand that people from India are going to come travel to the United States to come to have their operation? People from Canada, people from Puerto Rico? That's what happens when you become known as a specialist. When I, in my bio where it says, literally, these are things that people have, I've not asked for these names. It's like, oh, you're the brand assassin or the brand ninja or the queen of brand, because I am laser focused in this area. I am not trying to be all things to all people, but I am excellent at what I do because I'm a master of my craft. I study my work. I've been practiced and tenured in the position for years. I'm constantly heads down in branding. I'm not skipping around doing tons of other things. So get your tribe. If you don't have a Facebook group, think about creating one, thinking about inviting your friends. On your, if your Facebook business page doesn't have many likes, remember when somebody sends you a friend request, maybe the next day or so, invite them to like your business page. You're not always going to click right away, but again, because consistently, and I do this consistently, you want to keep doing that. Invite them to like your page, do an event, ask them to come by and join you virtually.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, last question. Any tips that you would like to give to the marketers?
Yes. So come join me in the Savvy Branders Tribe. So go on your Facebook, search the Savvy. Let me see if I can type it in the chat. The Savvy Branders Tribe on Facebook. And then I want you to think about creating your own group. And don't worry if there's not, tons of people. Everybody starts small. I would say you can't count to 1,000,000 without first starting at 1. Bible says never despise small beginnings. So I want you to get started and sort of building in that community, right? The second thing is I need you to do your audit. I need you to really look and assess, what does my social brand say about me? Is it communicating what it is that I want it to say about me? I need you to really think long and hard about how can you pivot now? What are some of the industries that people are in? If they can just type in the chat, maybe I can just do a little bit of laser coaching right now. Rash has a question about any book you suggest for social media. So here's the thing with this. There are so many books. There are Google has tons and tons and tons of content. What I'm going to invite your audience to do, and I'm probably going to launch I have a 6-week social branding boot camp where we join via Zoom, and I actually do your social branding with you and for you. So we literally write the headline summary, we select the photos, we put the content. I think that is going to be so important, because what I know is if you go read a book on social media, because Rosh, trust me when I tell you that you know a lot already. A lot of people don't give themselves, but you know what needs to be done. Sometimes you just need that accountability partner to help you get it done. So Secret, at another time, I'll send you the link when the next social branding bootcamp is. If people want to enroll, they can feel free to do so. But I would say from a what question specifically, Rosh, are you looking for about social media? What do you feel that you don't have a full understanding of right now? Just post that in the chat. But yeah, the social media digital you is very important now, so more than ever. So you want to be able to take that audit. I think that I'm not able to engage as much. Perfect. That's a great statement, because I think a lot of people struggle with that too, is your engagement numbers aren't going up, even though maybe you think that you're sharing. Rosh, let me ask you this. How much are you engaging? So this is what I want you to think about. If you're not going on to other people's pages consistently, here's that C word again, consistently engaging. So I'll give you a tip that I do. I'd say I do this probably 9 times out of 10. Facebook tells you when your friends are having birthdays. So I have close to 5,000 people on my page. And by the way, if you guys want to send me a friend request, I will absolutely accept it because of your affiliation with Rashi. I want you to find me on Faith James. Just search, you'll see my picture. And see, that's another key thing, that there's going to be many Faith James, but because I have a picture and because you've seen me and because you know what I look like now, you will quickly find me. I can't tell you how many people, either they have a name that doesn't match the name that they used when you met them at the mastermind and you're trying to connect with them and now you can't find them. Make it easy for people to connect with you. So find me on faithjames.com, send me a friend request, and I will accept you. You really want to do the audit. You really want to think about, am I engaging with other people? Because remember what I said, you've got to give to get. So with the birthdays, because I have close to 5, lots of people, I don't even know them. But if it says, you know, Timothy has a birthday, I'll do a story post and say, happy birthday, Timothy. I couldn't pick Timothy out of a lineup if you asked me. But that's me giving. I will go through my feed. If I'm sitting, let's say I'm listening and, you know, waiting for a webinar to start, I'll go through my feed a little bit and I just give heart. So that's one thing that I do. I never like anything. I love everything. And it's just an energetic exchange. That's just me saying my posture, my brand is always going to be about giving love. So somebody writes an article, they do a graphic, I only hit the love button or the laugh button if it's funny. I never do a like. It's always I'm sending love. And so just from that posture of this is how I choose to show up in the world makes a difference, right? Can you clarify about the social media bootcamp? Okay, so it's a 6-week online, we use Zoom, social branding bootcamp. I will send the link to Subri. Am I saying it right, Subri?
Surbi. That's all right.
Serbi. I will send the link to Serbian and she can send it out. But this is what it is. You join me and others, so it's in a group format. I have you share your screen and I go through and do the audit with you and for you, and I tell you what to change, how to write your headline, what type of content. So we'll go through and look, we'll audit the photos. Guys, sometimes when you look at the photos that you have on your page, it's not really compelling. It's not really communicating what it is that you want to communicate about your brand. So I help you get all of your platforms. So it's LinkedIn, help you create your LinkedIn business page, LinkedIn personal, Instagram, Facebook personal, and for Facebook business. I've gotten so many reviews on this from my clients that it just blows their mind. I mean, there's so much information in there that people don't know. So for example, when you go to my Facebook page, you'll see it'll have my name. When you click on my profile, it'll have my name. And then in parentheses, it'll say you are your brand. A lot of people don't know how to get that up there. And what does that do? It's another reinforcing point. So when they see my name, right below, they see something that says brand, reinforcing. Oh yeah, right, she's the brand ninja, she's the brand assassin. So all of those tricks and tips I do with you and for you. So it's a 6-week, typically on a Monday and a Friday. So we meet 2 times per week. It's live hands-on work. Great, please reply if you get time to do so. Okay, thank you so much, Rosh. And it's some of the best work that gets done, because what I love about it is that you don't have to worry about trying to go read and figure it out. I'm going to do it with you and for you, but you're going to be learning as we go. So that's really important. So yeah, if you guys are interested in wanting to do the social branding bootcamp and to get your profile to all-star status, so that when somebody does land on your page, they feel confident that yes, I want to speak to this person a little bit more, then that's what we'll do.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us, and thank you.